It's been a while since I've actually looked at RWA.XYZ and focused on stablecoins. And when we actually look at this, market cap growth over the last 30 days isn't that significant, but the transfer volume is up almost 40% in the last 30 days. And this is at 2.89 trillion in just monthly transfer volume. This is insane. And the monthly active addresses is also up almost 23%, sitting at almost 31 million active addresses. This is wild. Stablecoins right now, in terms of volume and addresses, is exploding. But this is because we constantly are seeing big moves happening around stablecoins, and we are also witnessing every single nation racing to get stablecoin legislation out there so that they could fully embrace and adopt stablecoins. This is a historical moment, and in this video, I'm actually going to be outlining the big moment that just happened for stablecoins and for this market. But first, let's go over here to RLUSD, because RLUSD right now, in terms of the market cap, the monthly transfer volume, and even holders, is actually up. But the main thing here is market cap up 26%. I actually think that this is incorrect, by the way, because RWA.XYZ is slacking. They didn't update it, but CoinMarketCap did. We're at almost 400 million RLUSD out there. So this is actually behind. But monthly transfer volume on RLUSD is actually up 46.5%. We just broke $2 billion. We love to see this. Now, in terms of that monthly transfer volume, most of it is on Ethereum, with only about 50 million of that on the XRP ledger. Again, I am still, very, very confident that towards the end of this year, especially with the EVM sidechain and with a lot of the DeFi initiatives happening around the XRP ledger, and of course with XRP, Apex happening right now, I do think that there's going to be a bit more announced around the XRPL for stablecoin initiatives and for RLUSD. And I do think that RLUSD growth on the XRP ledger is going to grow significantly. But outside of this, let's actually talk about what's going on with stablecoins right now in the world. So number one, Fortune 500's interest in stablecoins tripled from last year. This is from Coinbase. Nearly 30% of the 100 executives at a Fortune 500 firm said their company has plans or is interested in stablecoins, up from 8% who said the same last year. 8% turned into 30% in just 12 months. This is showing you how big and how fast the picture around stablecoins has not only become, but how it has changed. Wall Street, Fortune 500s, big enterprises, they're all jumping in on the stablecoin revolution. When we think about what's really going on here, right? I do think that we are seeing a wave of adoption, of focus, and just eagerness to jump into crypto, adopt it, utilize that at scale. And you got to remember, even with stablecoins, right? Like, we might think, oh, it's just stablecoin growth. The underlying networks that these stablecoins are actually issued out on is the focus. If you really want to make money, focus on the underlying networks. But it's growth around everything, right? Here we have, of the 251 surveyed financial decision makers at small and medium businesses, 81% said they were interested in using stablecoins compared to 61% a year ago. Meanwhile, 46% said they will likely use crypto in the next 3 years. This growth is driven by the belief among consumers in both the Fortune 500s and also SMBs that stablecoins can help address some of their biggest financial pain points. And just imagine, right, what they start to realize when they tap into DLT for specific processes as well. I mean, guys, this is crazy to witness. We are not just at the starting point. We are watching this unfold in front of us. Stablecoins are going parabolic. We actually have in 2024, the total stablecoin volumes hit 27.6 trillion. I do think that this year we might actually completely overshoot that with almost $3 trillion in monthly transfer volume right now. And we're not even talking about back in December when the transfer volume did hit an all-time high. If we actually look at this real quick, back in December alone, we had over $2 trillion. It's saying just 2 trillion, but I do think that it's much, much higher than 2 trillion. I actually think that it was, I think it was maybe over $5 trillion. It was a crazy amount, especially considering the fact that, oh, sorry, I thought I was on the monthly. I was actually on the weekly. So if we actually look at the monthly here, so back in December, it was about $4 trillion. There we go. I do apologize for that. But again, even in January, it was almost 4 trillion. It was almost $3.5 trillion exact. And even leading into like the middle of 2024 towards even May, we were seeing a significant amount of stablecoin, transfer volume. So in the last 12 months, who knows where we're at in 2025 alone? We don't know how big stablecoins are going to be, especially after this historic moment just happened. 161 million stablecoin holders by the numbers, 4 times the population of Canada, more than the 10 largest cities in the world combined, 6 times the population of the New York City metro area, and then also more than the daily active US users on X, and 6 times circle the earth if they joined hands. So again, love to see just the overall interest here. And I do think that this is going to continue to accelerate, especially with South Korea now moving to legalize crypto stablecoins, which is also putting a big spotlight on the Clarity Act. Brian Steele just said the Clarity Act will restore confidence, encourage innovation, and protect consumers. And if you guys did miss it, here we have the Clarity Act has passed. This is that historic moment for crypto. And this is going to lead to the Genius Act, in my opinion, getting passed as well, which don't worry, we will talk about that here in a second. But I also want to play a few clips around the Clarity Act. Here we actually have over here from French Hill. Check this one out. We have today Financial Committee and House AG, GOP are marking up our Clarity Act, which gives us the market framework that will make America the leader in crypto development and distributed ledger financial services. Check this one out.
Over in the Senate, my friend Bill Hagerty is leading debate on the Genius Act, which is a dollar-backed stablecoin. That's what the CEO of Circle was referring to. And here in the House today, the House Ag Committee and the House Financial Services Committee will be marking up our Clarity Act, which gives the framework for regulations. What's a commodity? What's a security? How does a bank hold digital assets in custody? How do banks and individuals and peer-to-peer networks work? How do decentralized self-custody wallets work? How are they regulated? All that's contained in the Clarity Act, and that's why both these bills are very, very important to the goal of a digital asset future for the U.S. You can't just pass a stablecoin bill and have any place to effectively use it. You need the Clarity Act to give us that market framework that will make America the leader in crypto development and distributed ledger financial services. Over in the Senate.
Now, also on top of that, we have this video clip as well regarding this, which is from the Financial Services GOP. This is with French Hill and also Brian Steele. The Clarity Act is heading to the House floor.
Brian Steele, French Hill, live from the House Financial Services Committee, where today we had a bipartisan vote to report the Clarity Act out of our House committee and onto the House floor for consideration. This is the second bill that Brian has so ably led. First stablecoins and now our market structure bill.
Big step forward, House Financial Services under the leadership of French Hill. Great to see French's Clarity Act pass the House here in the Financial Services Committee in a bipartisan way, mirroring the bipartisan support we saw in the Ag Committee. At the end of the day, this is all about getting this across the House floor and signed into law to be transformative to move us forward in Web3.
This is just an opportunity, as Brian says, to see America lead in the future of Web3 on the internet, including financial services using tokenized payments and having rules of the road where if you're an innovator, a consumer, an investor, you know what the rules of the road are and how to invest in America.
Now, on top of this, right, we have a few other things to really kind of cover, because we also did get a big update behind the Genius Act. All right. We have today, Senate Majority Leader John Thune files cloture on Genius Act and bipartisan amendments, setting up the votes this week. The bill will require 60 votes to advance to the final passage. And we also got a big update from David Sachs regarding this, saying, "Thank you for your leadership, John Thune. The Genius Act is one step closer to passage, a huge milestone for the crypto community." So this could definitely happen by the end of the summer. You know, a lot of people are saying could be this week or next week. I don't know. We got to be a little bit conservative here, but the fact that the Clarity Act is now, you know, it's here. It has passed. This is huge. This is huge. And on top of that, right? Let's go over here to what Congress recently just said, which in my opinion is about to cause a tsunami of major regulatory moves towards adoption, moves towards, integration, which will lead to utilization. Congress acknowledges that we are in a global race and they want to see the US-backed digital assets take off. Big shout out to Subjective Views. This is exactly why I do think that the Genius Act could happen at any moment. I think that this could be, much sooner than we expect, but I'm just being a little bit more conservative. But the fact that we're now starting to see, players like, for an example, South Korea moving forward on crypto stablecoins, it's putting a lot of pressure on the US. And now with Congress really kind of acknowledging this and realizing how, far behind we actually have been, I do think that everything's about to really, kick into overdrive. Check this out.
And that's why I'm so proud to support the Clarity Bill that both Chairman Stile has been leading here and Chairman Johnson in the Ag Committee have already passed. This bill provides one thing our digital asset ecosystem clearly needs: clear rules of the road. They've asked for it. It does not create more bureaucracy. It provides definition. It clearly defines the lines and coordinates the work of the CFTC and the SEC so companies know what to expect. Investors know how they're protected. Regulators can perform their duties effectively. And importantly, from a national security perspective, the U.S. remains the leader in American-backed digital assets so that those countries who may be competing with us on fair ground, like Singapore and the UK, can do well. Countries that overregulate, like the European Union, can learn from their mistakes. But most importantly, countries like Russia, China, Iran do not own this space before the US-backed digital assets have the opportunity to take off. This bill acknowledges that we are in a global race. America can be in the driver's seat, or we can be offshored and a recipient of bad behavior. I don't believe any of us on either side of the aisle wants to see that. And if ag and financial services can work together, more importantly, if the House and the Senate can work together, then I'm highly confident that Democrats and Republicans can work together in the interest of the American people. Now is the time for clarity. Now is the time to lead. Mr. Chairman, thank you for helping lead this bill.
Will the gentleman yield?
Clarity.
So yeah, now is the time for these things to really start to pick up, right? We need to get these bills fully passed through. The Clarity Act, that's a huge one. I think that this is going to put a lot of pressure on, of course, the Genius Act. We've been hearing from a lot of prominent names that it's going to get passed through very, very soon. I think that we need to pay attention to these types of things because it all starts with stablecoins, and from stablecoins, we're going to see everything, right? We're going to see everything unlock in a big way, and I'm not just talking about tokenization. I'm talking about institutional DeFi. I'm talking about DeFi as a whole. I'm talking about this whole initiative to be your own bank. All of these big things that we have been talking about for years now, it's all becoming a reality because of stablecoin adoption. You got to think about it like this, right? We now have the US government going all in on stablecoins, on crypto, on digital assets. The tune has changed. This is no longer a whole game of, oh, how can we slow this down? How can we halt this? No, that's done. Now it's how can we embrace this? How can we push this to be even bigger? How can we adopt? How can we utilize? I want you guys to realize what's about to happen over the coming weeks and months and even years. Crypto is on a massive path, and it's a massive path of significant growth, adoption, utilization, and even value. We got to think about the value that's about to enter this space, going forward. I am very excited about the future. I think XRP, RLUSD, and Ripple are in for a major ride here because of, all of the focus put on US-backed digital assets and US-based crypto companies. And of course, stablecoins, RLUSD, one of the most transparent regulated stablecoins in the space. I'm telling you guys, Ripple is so far ahead of, these other big players. A lot of people don't recognize it, but, we have been focused on it. We've been paying attention, and we know that this is the case. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.